What's up? Welcome to your, what's it called? Buckeye Rush Hour. Oh, scrambling here. My goddamn camera wouldn't come on. So, yeah, the lights look like shit. Crank up the lights a little bit. There we go. How's that? I don't know why my face always looks so red. I gotta get a new camera or some shit. I don't know. Anyways, welcome in, everybody. Um, please leave your questions and comments in the chat. We're talking Cruton mostly today, but the floor is yours after I give you a quick rundown of what's happening this week. Got one more week of spring ball till we get to the spring game. Today was supposed to be a big scrimmage at practice. They switched their practice days from Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, I think, to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Fridays are now your big scrimmage day. But yeah. As always, don't forget to visit the video vault. I do have a free, you know what? I'm going to give you guys access to a free preview of the video vault. Let me drop the link in the chat here real quick. It's one video. Hopefully you'll check it out. I'm going to give you guys something for free. Free is me, free is you, I'm sure. So I'll drop it in the chat. Check it out at your leisure. Here we go. Boom. Not during the show, though, obviously. All right, let's get into it. So another big recruiting weekend for the Buckeyes this week. So I've noticed a pattern here. I don't know if this is new or if you guys already knew this shit, but they're bringing in recruits, generally speaking, by position group. So like last week was, well, that's kind of a mixture, but mostly secondary guys like DBs, corners, and stuff. This week, we've got a little bit of a mixture. We got a bunch of receivers, offensive players, O-linemen, tight ends, stuff like that. So big targets are coming in, and let's pop into it right now. I did want to say this. Recently, Steve Wiltfong moved from 24/7 Sports over to On3. So now he's putting in his RPM predictions, which is basically a On3's version of a crystal ball. He put in a prediction this week for Jordan Davison to Ohio State. He is the modern day running back, the 4-star. We've talked about him. We were very concerned that when Tony Alford left, that we were going to lose out on his recruitment. He took a couple of days visit to the Cheaters before he came to Ohio State last Saturday and Sunday. So a little bit of concern there. But the thing you got to remember about Steve Wiltfong and his predictions is he puts in a prediction for who he thinks has the momentum right now. It's not a prediction of who's going to win ultimately on signing day. It's who's leading now. So most people put it in as a prediction, like a true prediction, like Ohio State's going to land this commit, period. Right. So Wiltfong does it a little differently. He kind of rides the wave of momentum, for a recruit. So he's saying right now the Buckeyes are in the lead for Jordan Davison. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, a long ways to go till signing day. He does have an official visit scheduled to Ohio State later this summer. So just wanted to point that out. So as far as recruiting visitors coming in this week, I'll run through the list leading up to and through the spring game. But some of the most important visitors for this week have already been on campus. You had a few recruits from New Jersey, 4-star wide receiver Quincy Porter, 6'3", 190 out of Bergen Catholic. It's a big monster powerhouse in the Jersey area. He's a 9.712, number 52 player nationally, number 7 receiver in the class. So that's a name you probably want to know. He's got offers from everybody. Then you got Malachi Goodman. This guy is a massive wide body offensive tackle from Paramus Catholic in New Jersey. He is 6'5", 315 already. They got him penciled in as an interior O lineman here on 24/7, but he's a 9025, so a little lower 4-star in the composite. Nationally, he's in the top 300, number 18 interior O lineman, but he does have a massive list of offers here. Then you got, I got to learn how to say this freaking guy's name. Darren Ikanagban. He is an elite athletic defensive end. He's from Hillsdale High School in New Jersey, 6'5", 251. He is a 4-star, 9381, nationally ranked number 155, number 19 defensive lineman in the class. Got offers from everybody, of course, Georgia, Notre Dame, Penn State, So, yeah, those are the 3 guys from Jersey that have been on campus. Then you got Nate Roberts. He's been at the top of the Buckeyes recruiting board for tight end for over a year now. He was originally supposed to visit over the April 13th weekend of the spring game, but he's in a 7-on-7 tournament that weekend. So he's bumping his visit up to this weekend so he can play in that 7-on-7. He's visiting Thursday through Saturday. You might remember him. He's 6'4", 235 from Washington, Oklahoma. He's a 4-star, 9452, nationally ranked number 118, number 5 tight end in the class. Massive offer list. So you got to remember that Oregon, Oklahoma are big in his recruitment here. So the Buckeyes are going to be battling this one. It's been going on for a long time. It's going to continue to probably for quite a long time. So then you got 4-star offensive lineman Avery Gatch. Now he's from the state up north, but the Buckeyes were the first major program to offer Gatch, and the relationship between Gatch, Ryan Day, and Justin Fry is still among one of his best connections. So the loyalty shown to Gatch by the Ohio State staff is really important to him. This recruitment's going to come down to Ohio State versus the Cheaters. Obviously, he wants to stay close to home. The Badgers are also hanging around, but he's really good friends with Carter Lowe, so that has to help, right? Buckeye commit. And Carter Lowe will be in town this weekend for Gatch on his visit. They become really good friends through the recruiting process. You're going to have Tavian St. Clair there as well. Eli Lee will be visiting this weekend. We'll get into the entire list, but Ohio State's probably trailing Michigan slightly, and Gatch and his family will be back for an official visit in June. Just to refresh your memory, he's a 6'5", 275-pound tackle out of Franklin Meat Chicken. He's a 4-star, 9192, nationally ranked 227, number 12 interior O lineman. So I'd say at that size, 6'5", he's probably more like a tackle, but have to see how athletic he is. He has a huge offer list as well from, everybody nationally. All right. Then we got this guy's a rising star, defensive end, Javion Campbell. He visited Ohio State a month ago, got his offer from Larry Johnson, so that's a big deal, huge win for him. He'll be back in town today to watch this final scrimmage. It's probably over by now, but Larry Johnson really likes Campbell, and he's becoming a national name. His rating is not fantastic yet. He's only a 3-star, 8894. He's 6'5", 265, considered an edge. He's from Frankfort, Kentucky, Frankfurter. Nationally ranked number 410. Again, lower ranked for now, and number 44 defensive lineman in the class. But again, he has a star-studded offer list. So I really like Javion Campbell, and it's really nice just from a defensive end perspective of the number of edge rushers and defensive ends, like the legit guys. I'm talking 4- and 5-star guys that are in the North or in the Midwest, not far from Columbus, like within a 3 to 4 hour drive. You got a couple dudes in Indiana. You got Javion down here in Kentucky. Then you got uh, was it Hill down in Cincinnati. So lots of dudes. Can't take them all, but we're going to try. We'll see how many defensive ends they want to take, and you don't know who's going to bulk up and eventually slide down into a D tackle position, like a Jason Moore or somebody like that. So let's get into the visitor list here for this weekend. This is starting today, and this is going through the 9th, so into early next week. Tavian St. Clair, obviously, the quarterback. Now, you got Florida wide receiver Winston Watkins Jr. Really like this guy. Let me quickly pull up his profile here. He's 5'10", 172, so a little undersized. He's down in Naples. He's at a smaller Baptist, I almost said Catholic, Baptist school. Can't cross those streams, can you? He's not nationally ranked right now, but 30th receiver in his class. Then you got Taz Williams Jr. I like this guy. He's out of Texas, so we love our Texas wide receivers. He's 5'11", 181. He's also a 3-star. He's from Red Oak, Texas. Number 66 receiver in the class, not nationally ranked yet. But then you got Nate Roberts. We talked about the tight end from Oklahoma. He's coming in. Carter Lowe, the Buckeye commit at tackle from the 419, by the way. And then we talked about Avery Gatch, the Michigan tackle coming in. Kentucky defensive end Javion Campbell. Maryland defensive tackle Darion Smith. Now, he's another lower rated guy, but these guys, their ratings are all going to skyrocket when they get into the summer camps coming up here in the next couple months. So he's 6'2", 260. He's from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland. So DMV area. We got to get back in there and get Larry Johnson to snag somebody of quality in that area. But he's an 8'7", 6'1". He's in the top 600. But again, let's give him some time to get to the camps and everything. I mentioned linebacker Eli Lee from Akron Hoban. He's coming in. And then you got Messiah Delhomme, Virginia athlete. They got him listed as mostly they got him as a safety here. I've seen him as an athlete other places. 6'1", 196 pounds. He's from the Warwick High School. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Might want to pass on that guy. Just kidding. 4-star, 9203, nationally ranked 226, number 20 safety in the class. He has another star-studded offer list, Bama, Auburn, the list goes on. So he'll be in, and then you got that's it for the 2025 guys. Now coming up next week, middle of the week, April 10th, you got Florida running back Byron Lewis. He'll be in. Yes, we're still going after the South Florida running backs. Maybe this new running back coach can make some headway. If nothing else, he can intimidate some people down there. Dude's like brick shithouse, right? Lachlan, Coach Lock. Maybe he can lock it up down in South Florida. 5'11", 200 pounds, Byron Lewis from American Heritage down in Fort Lauderdale. He's a 9'2", 6'6", nationally ranked number 203, number 15 running back. He's got the offer list to go right along with his rating. And then for the spring game next weekend, you got Tavian St. Clair, obviously. He's going to be in. Then you got Virginia running back, and this guy's underrated currently, Jeff Overton from Virginia, 5'10 and a half, 187. He's a 3-star right now, but he's another one of those guys that has their offer list doesn't match their rating, He's got national offers, Oregon, Tennessee, SEC teams. So Buckeyes, of course. So watch him rise over the summer and fall. Then again, this is for the spring game weekend. Texas wide receiver Andrew March. I don't know a lot about this guy. I don't think he's got an offer yet. Yeah, I don't think so. Let me look this guy up real quick. That's not it. Texas. He's not a Yale professor, I don't think. I don't know who this guy is. He's not coming up on a Google search. Crazy. Anyway, he's a Texas wide receiver, 2025, Andrew March. He'll be in town for the game. Iowa offensive tackle Nikolai Brooks. Carter Lowe will be back. Maryland defensive tackle Darion Smith will be back again next weekend. Then Pennsylvania defensive end and current Buckeye commit Zahir Mathis, the big man, coming in from Philly. Georgia linebacker Jaden Perlow, still going after a bunch of linebacker targets, probably take 4 in this class. Maryland corner, current Buckeye commit Blake Woodby, and then Texas corner and Buckeye commit Devin Sanchez will all be in town. So that'll be the last big recruiting weekend, for a while. We really don't have anything else going on visit-wise until you get into the summer, and official visits and stuff. Yeah. After the spring game, you just got officials starting in May 31st. So through June. All right. That should give you plenty to chew on. Let's pop in the chat, see what's happening, give you guys a little time to get fired up here on a Friday afternoon. 1 second. Steven Cherry. I got Steven as the first one in. Good job, Steven. Go Bucks. Steven, to you. Odysseus says OH and some nuts. IO says Billy. Sage, Ohio says hello, Buckeyes. Hello, Sage. I was going to pin that comment of mine to the top. There you go. Billy says, checked out the Haddad tape. He'll be ranked a lot higher after next season. Yeah, for sure. I think he's going to be a Buckeye before then, though. He's already got a crystal ball this week. After he decommitted to Wisconsin this week, he immediately got a crystal ball to Ohio State. And his dad's a former NFL player, played for the Colts. I forget his name because I don't like the NFL, but yeah. He missed 6 games this year because of a broken arm. He broke it in a scrimmage. So I think it might have been against Massillon maybe. Anyways, he's from St. Ignatius. Dude's a stud. He's definitely a Buckeye, no doubt about it. And again, he's another one of these lower rated guys that is blowing up, as teams are finally watching his tape. He's 6'1", 175. So he's going to put some weight on this year. They got him listed as an athlete, but he'll play safety in college. So, yeah, I'm not worried about him. But yeah, he's going to skyrocket. I'm sure he'll get to the camps over summer as well. Odysseus says, any thoughts on the theory David Sanders is a silent commit? I haven't seen anything about that. I like it. Let me check something out real quick. I don't think he's a commit, though. I don't think he would have come in, had the great visit, obviously, with his family and stuff, but he's still looking his top 5. The other 4 teams outside of Ohio State are all in the South, Clemson, Georgia, Bama. So I don't think he's a silent commit, but it sounds great. I mean, it probably gets the attention of other recruits around the country, and people take notice when they hear these things, true or not. I just haven't seen anything about him being a silent commit. Any idea who reported that? Don't tell me Nevada Buck. Please don't tell me that, because then it shoots holes in the theory. But Pam says, we need that O-line bad. Fry just can't seem to recruit, though. SMH. Yeah, I get your point, Pam, and you're not alone there. The bandwagon's been running over Justin Fry's body for a couple seasons now. But I will say he's recruited the Midwest very well. You know, he brought in four stars last year, brought in four more this year. Well, I think Van Sickle might have been a 3-star. But you got the Armstrong twins, Ian Moore and Gabe Van Sickle. Ian Moore was a 5-star at one point last year. Then he just didn't go to the camps and stuff like that. So these recruiting services will ding kids if they don't visit camps over the summer, if they don't, show up. But anyway, you gotta, I think it's, yeah, I'll take the other side just to play devil's advocate for a sec. Luke Montgomery has a real shot to start in his second year. That's unusual for second-year guys on the O-line to be in line for a starting job. Hell, even more so to crack the 2 deep. And then you got Austin Saraveld. He is cracking the 2 deep at left guard behind Donovan Jackson. So you got Montgomery and Saraveld, both second-year guys. Saraveld was redshirted. Montgomery played a handful of games last year, but not a lot of snaps. So maybe the recruiting's not great, but the development seems to be working. I know Luke Montgomery was the highest rated out of those four the second-year guys coming in from last season's class. But these guys, if we can get 2 guys from last year's class in the 2 deep, I think that says something about his development. Prior to that, the recruiting was falling off, and development of some of the other guys. I would say Josh Simmons was developed well over one season, but he was a 3rd-year guy in college football. So Simmons made some improvements. Let's see what he looks like this year. Josh Fryer, now there's a place that should be an example of development. He's in his last season. So wait, he might have one more. Yeah, he'll have a COVID year because he was 2020 class. So anyway, Josh Fryer needs to drastically improve. So that's another place you can look to see how Fry has developed him. And I would give Fry some credit in the development side. But one thing I do want to note when it comes to recruiting specifically is that Ohio State has never really recruited nationally, high-end 5-star guys on O-line. Donovan Jackson had Ohio ties. He's from Texas, I know. Wyatt Davis had Ohio ties when he was from California, right? So most guys that we bring in the O-line have Ohio ties in some regard if they're a national guy. But it's rare that we bring in those 5-star guys. The 2 I just mentioned, those are the only 2 we've had in last 8 years, something like that. Everybody on the team right now on O-line, none of them are 5-star guys. So I think it would be awesome if they can get David Sanders in this class, but let's look at the rest of the O-line class and let's have some backup plans. I do agree that the O-line recruiting does need to land some big fish eventually. We can't just live solely on Midwest guys, because what happens when there's a down Midwest class, like 2025 maybe there's not as many quality guys in the Midwest. Then what does Justin Fry do? He's got to go national. So I'm with you, Pam. Billy says might be a lot of Jersey boys in the class. Yes. I didn't take you for a Broadway guy, Billy, but showing your versatility there. I appreciate it. What else here? Billy says Sanders and Gatch would help Fry's case. Yeah. Gatch is solid. But again, he lives a few hours from campus. Odysseus says more critical that Fry develops championship level O-line this year. Yeah, I'll take the development for sure. Oh, somebody's car is honking out in the parking lot. Anyway, yeah, you got to develop this O-line. This O-line has to be much better than last year. We cannot accept the status quo. We got to see development, like I just mentioned, Fryer at right tackle. We need to see an increased improvement from Simmons at left tackle. Then the interior guys, McLaughlin, Hinsman talked the other day on interviews with at the Woody. He admitted he was not ready last year to start. They just didn't have any other options. Remember, they brought in Vic Cutler from UL Monroe. He never saw the field, so that tells you that was a problem. They tried to address it, did not do a good enough job of it, whether it's through the portal or development. So I look for Hinsman to sit this year. He'll probably start next year, assuming he doesn't leave. So, yeah, we must develop this O-line. It has to be better than 2023, no doubt. With all you guys there, Steven says Fry needs to go. That's why Drebno was brought in. I don't think he's replacing Fry. Fry's got a 2-year deal, Steven. I don't think he's going to get replaced immediately. We'll see what Drebno brings to the table. It does point to the fact that this could be a run-heavy offense this year. He's a big-time O-line guy. Drebno is. He's worked with a lot of different staffs. Worked with douchebag Harbaugh. So I remember he was with the Cheaters a few years ago. So, yeah, I don't know if Drebno is going to be there to replace him. Maybe just put a little heat on him. Maybe have Fry looking over his shoulder a little bit, so possibly. But again, Fry has a 2-year contract remaining. Doug says the line got better as the season went on last year, so hopefully Fry gets them to keep improving. Yes, it did. Simmons, especially, I would point to. Hinsman was a liability the entire year, start to finish. Never got better. Fryer, inconsistent, I would say. But Simmons is the one I would say was the most improved from game 1 to game 12. I don't count the Cotton Bowl because the entire line shit itself. They changed the alignment. Hinsman was yanked out. Matt Jones went to center as a fucking train wreck from Jump Street. So, yeah, O-line got better, but it still has to improve. Was not good enough by the end of the season. Pam says, we have so much talent on this team. Really going to suck if we go down again because of the O-line. Yeah, it is. And if the O-line is the issue again this season, then yes, I agree. Going back to Steven's comment that you do have to make a change. Even if Justin Fry might be the best offensive line coach in the world, he's not getting the job done, or players aren't listening. So yeah, you might have to sack him. Doug says some of the protection issues last year were partially on McCord because he stood in one spot. To a degree, yeah. Or he would take a 20-yard drop and run completely past the tackles. Or you take an intentional grounding to avoid a sack. But yes, McCord was part of the problem. He was immobile. He hurt his ankle at one point, had no mobility, and was just loose and careless with the ball, So, yeah, McCord was part of the problem for sure. Sage says they need improvement, O-line, third down, and consistent rushing. Yes. I feel they've addressed all those things. We have a much better center in McLaughlin, assuming he takes the starting job. Doesn't seem like a difficult task for him. So we upgraded there. Donovan Jackson is back, his final year. This right guard is going to be somewhat a concern because it's going to be a first-year starter, no matter who it is. I think it's probably going to be Luke Montgomery. He's the most athletic guy, and he seems to be getting a lot of reps there. So Fryer, has to improve. Third down, yes, must improve, and with that goes the O-line improvement. If if you can get protection on third down or run the ball when everybody knows you're going to run the ball, that's all on the O-line for sure. So yes, I agree with you there, Sage. And consistent rushing. Again, we upgraded the running game by bringing in Judkins. Trey is back for one more year. That two-headed monster is going to do damage. So excellent points there, Sage. And I agree with you. Odysseus says, I've heard different reports from spring practice regarding O-line performance. Yeah, that's the thing. I agree with you. You don't know who to believe, who to trust. And it is hard. The reporters only get like what? They had 3 practices they were in there for. Only 1 scrimmage. So yeah. You don't know what to believe, but it sounds like they aren't really moving Josh Fryer at all. It sounds like he's pretty much locked down that right tackle job again this year. They gave him a little competition with Tegra and stuff. But yeah, looks like Fryer's going to hang on to that right tackle job. Luke at right guard, McLaughlin center, Donovan at left guard, and then Simmons. We still got to have improvement from Simmons. I'm not going to let that one go either. Yeah. Odysseus says also need to realize we may just have the best O-line or D-line in the country. They're going up against. Yes, that was the problem last year this time. The O-line was getting his ass kicked by the D-line, but a really good D-line. So sounds like the O-line might be holding its own. I'm not saying winning every snap against the D-line this year, but it sounds like they're a little improved maybe. So, yeah, a tough D-line will make any O-line look like shit. Sage says, oh, crap. Why does it always do that to me? Sage says, the O-line doesn't need to be great, but good. It's a fair point. I would be shocked if it's great, honestly, to go from what it was last year, which was garbage, to great. Seems like a stretch in just 1 year when you're only switching out 2 guys on the O-line, center and guard. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be great, but it's got to be good for sure. Stephen Cherry says CJ Hicks ready to ball out. Word out of spring camp. Yep. He did a lot of blitzing. That was a lot of people talked about his blitzing. Maybe the light bulb has gone off for CJ Hicks finally. Yeah, it'd be great. Year 3, it's time. There's nobody blocking him. The question is, though, what happens to Sonny Styles? He's not just a role player on this team, is he? Come in at Sam linebacker when they want to run a 4-3 against a run-heavy team. I don't think he can be that. I think he's got to be more than that. So that'll be the question there. But yes, CJ blitzed the shit out of the quarterback in that scrimmage last weekend. Knowles really brought the heat, blitzed everybody, it seemed like. So yeah, CJ did a good job. Billy says O-line is certainly doing better in spring camp than last year. Plus, it takes them longer to gel. Yeah, it does. But you gotta feel good about that O-line going into fall camp. You can do some work over the summer. You can't really do like 7-on-7s and full practices, over the summer though. It's a lot of individual, a lot of position group stuff. So yeah, I would hope they're better. It's hard to be worse. So I agree, Billy. Hey, folks, I appreciate you hitting the like button as you're coming in the door. Drinks are on the house, so see your bartender. PC's back. He says, sorry, I'm late, gang. Go Bucks. Go Bucks, PC. Good to see you. Tyler's in. What's up, Tyler? He says, OH and a bunch of nuts. PC says, Joe, are you as optimistic as the rest of us for this upcoming season? I can't wait, personally. I think, in the words of Denzel Burke, it's natty or bust. But that's the same thought every year, right? I mean, I don't remember ever going into a season thinking Yeah, I'd be happy with 10 wins and a bowl game. Sounds good. No, it's always get to the playoffs, get to the national championship, win it, you know. And we've missed out on that goal 3 years in a row now. Uh, at least getting to a Big Ten championship, beating the cheaters, all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm very optimistic. This team is loaded. It's not necessarily a now or never because we don't rebuild, we reload, right? So in 2025, you're going to have a bunch of younger guys playing, maybe a little less experienced. So I would say this year, with everybody that came back, all the 2021 guys returned on defense and on offense a little bit. So this is the oldest team we've had in quite a while. So I would say, yes, you got to get it done this year. And it's a hell of a gauntlet that we've never gone through before. 15, 16, possibly 17 games. You got to be freaking healthy. And that's why they got to play the depth early and often. They got to treat these first 3-4 weeks of the season like a preseason in the NFL, which they kind of did last year, but this year even more so because you don't have a Notre Dame in there. You don't have a tough game till Iowa, like week 5, and that's really not that tough. And then you got to go to Oregon week 6. So, but you got to get those young guys reps early, But yeah, I'm optimistic for sure, PC. Jeremiah says, let's go Buckeyes. Hope everyone shows out in the upcoming spring game. Yes. If the weather's good, I don't see how you don't pack that thing. How do you not get 100,000 in there, man? It's $10 a ticket. If I lived within driving distance, I would be there every year. It's a great time to get kind of close to the field. You can see all the pageantry, the band and everything. So, and it's on national TV. It's on Fox this year. So, it's a big deal. I need some water. Hold up. This says 16-0 natty this season. Love it. 16 games is a lot, man. You can even lose one probably and still win the national championship, especially if you're Ohio State. Tyler says, I'm not hoping I think you mean hopping on the hype train for firing Justin Fry. I think the previous running back coach was good. Awful Joe. Was god awful Joe. Okay. Alfred? You didn't like Alfred, huh? Yeah. I could go either way. He wasn't great. Again, running back coach is not a highly technical position like receiver, defensive back, corners, So not sure how much his recruiting was hit and miss here and there. He loved going to South Florida. Who doesn't? I don't personally, but that's because I live within driving distance. And South Florida is a toilet in my opinion, but good players to bring in good players. But yeah, Benedict Alfred, I think, I could go either way on him. I'm not super excited about him. He never really impressed me. Players liked him though. Let's see, his NFL development was not great. J.K. Dobbins is the only person, and Travion. You got to remember, Travion's going to be an NFL draft pick. But J.K. Dobbins and Travion were the only two that he recruited out of high school and sent to the league over 9 years. That's a long time to be a position coach at one place. So I can't argue with you, Tyler. That's a fair point. The recruiting misses will always be probably the highlight or low light of Tony Alford's tenure. Missing out on Bijan Robinson when he was assignment commit, getting late flips from the two South Florida running backs, so Lyle and Fletcher, and then going right back to the well and going after Byron Lewis. We talked about earlier in the recruiting. So I don't know. Maybe Coach Locke can make some changes. I like what he stands for. He's a stronger presence, I feel, than Tony Alford. Tony Alford's kind of soft, in my opinion. So, Odysseus says, saw it on 24/7 board. Probably not true, is based on the fact that Sanders looks up to Paris Johnson. Oh, yeah. Odysseus is referring to David Sanders possibly being a silent commit to Ohio State. Yeah, I think that's reaching. I really don't. I I know he's a big fan of Paris Johnson. He got to meet his mom. Um, they actually helped get him to campus back in 2022. The first time he visited Ohio State, the, Monica Daniels, Paris's mom, and Paris helped get him on campus that time. She was on campus again. Monica was this past weekend when David was there with his family. So Buckeyes are, pulling out the big guns, working those relationships, using former players, parents, things like that. That really helps. So, yeah, I think a silent commit is a bit of a stretch, but the Buckeyes are definitely in his top three, and the Sanders family are taking Ohio State seriously. Again, distance should not be a concern. They got family travel funds now that the school can actually pay them to travel to games. And you got NIL. There's no reason that he can't have his family on campus for every game or fly them to every away game, So the distance thing, Charlotte to Columbus is like a fucking hour flight, 6, 7, 8 hours, driving. I would just fly, obviously. But yeah, I think Sanders really had his eyes open this past weekend, and the Buckeyes are a serious contender. Steven says, love the Carlos Lachlan pickup. Yeah, I think everybody does. Yeah, he's a strong dude, like personality wise. I love what he's about. He's about the right things, you know. And he's a big motherfucker. He's a big son of a bitch. Jesus. If he can't coach these kids, maybe he can just beat the piss out of them or something. I don't know. But yeah, I like Coach Locke as well. I think it's going to help our recruiting because he's recruited coast to coast. He's from Alabama originally. He coached a lot in Memphis. He's recruited Florida. He's recruited California, obviously, because Jordan Davison loves him, the 2025 running back. So he's been all over and had to recruit, obviously, because there aren't too many running backs running around the state of Washington or Oregon for that matter. But Seattle's probably the biggest city up there. Pam said, oh, wait. Tyler says exactly, Stephen. So Tyler's on board with Coach Locke. Odysseus says, can Drevno give some inside info on how to stop the cheaters' run game? That would be useful, wouldn't it? That would be helpful. Yeah, I don't know. Give us something, Drevno. Pam says, O-line was terrible in that Missouri game. Yeah, it was gross. Friggin' gross. PC says, Simmons improved a lot from ND throughout. I was not feeling good at all about him after week 1, but he did get better and better after that. Exactly. But he does need to improve. His season grades, on average weren't fantastic. So continuous improvement is what we need for sure, especially at that left tackle job. Tyler says, Pam, I don't care about the Cotton Bowl last year. I think everybody's forgotten about that. I forgot about it. James, welcome to the show. He says, well, when another team knows you're running, they can come downhill. Also, O-line. Yes, that's a good point. When the other team knows what you're doing, they can come downhill, but you're supposed to be able to overcome that as an offensive line. Justin Fry said it himself when he first came here. He said, we need to be able to still run the ball even when everybody in the stadium knows you're running the ball. So he hasn't gotten it there yet. Let's hope he will. He has to. I mean, this O-line has to improve. Have I made that clear? I feel like I've really banged that drum today. Steven says, I love the fact that it appears that Day has been getting advice from Jim Tressel about special teams issues. Yeah. Yeah. Who else would you go to, right? Any any drive that ends in a kick is a good drive, right? Coach Tress's motto. Um, so yeah, excellent advice by Coach Tress to divvy up the special teams jobs among the staff. Again, you don't need to get a full position to a special teams coordinator. Not necessary. You got a staff of dudes that have played a lot of football, not just coached it. So they should be able to handle it, and dividing it up among, the return teams, go to Heartline. And is Coach Locke handling the return team as well? Anyway, doesn't matter. And then the defensive guys are handling the coverage teams, kick and punt. So makes sense. Odysseus says, would love to see Tressel as a special teams analyst. Yeah. I don't know if he wants to be on campus every day. Does he still live over in Youngstown, Akron area? But yeah, he could work remotely for all I care. Send him tapes, or he can send him video, whatever. He can give feedback, text it, call it, whatever. Yeah. However you can involve Tress in the program, that's a win. That's a good thing, right? Pam says, hopefully this powerhouse of a running game we have will help this year, and with this new running back coach we got. Exactly, Pam. I think you're going to see a concerted effort to establish that run early and often, and you're going to need it late in the season. When the weather's not so great, and in the playoffs. If you need to salt a game away, you got to get some first downs to run out the clock. You got to be able to run the ball late in the year. Yes. And I think they've made it obvious they're addressing the running game issues with the hirings, the transfer portal guys we brought in. So, yeah, running game is going to be strong. PC says, Fryer wasn't terrible last year. Why do people say that? Wasn't he second team All Big Ten or something like that by the coaches? He was. I don't know if I would say that was a worth. I don't think he earned that. I think that was one of those things that he was not not that good. I'm trying to pull up his grades real quick. Blocking. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. I can give you his season grades, and I can go game by game if you like. But okay. Fryer. So run blocking, 76. Good. He was best on the team at run blocking, but pass blocking was an issue. He was 68.7. He allowed 5 sacks on the year and 13 total pressures. Got to do better than that. He was a problem in all the big games. Did okay pass blocking, did very well against Notre Dame, but run blocking right in line with his average. Then against Wisconsin was trash, a 60 and a 44 run to pass. Michigan, 52-43 run to pass. Missouri, a 60 to a 46 run to pass. Yeah. He did not get better over the year like you would expect. Billy says, McLaughlin said Montgomery is the most athletic O lineman he's been around. Yeah. I think Luke is. I mean, he played a lot of basketball in high school, got great footwork. And if you want to see a pulling guard come around the line of scrimmage and lead the way, I think he's a winner right there. And he's got the weight on that he needs. It's good weight. He's got huge legs. So I think Luke Montgomery is going to be your starter at right guard, and I love it. I love it. Pride of the 419. PC says Jackson is the one that I was disappointed in the most. Yeah, he had a terrible year last year. You don't know why, unless it's because he had, a new left tackle on his left side, a new center on his right side. So maybe those guys weren't doing their job. He had to kind of feel like he had to spread himself too thin and uh, do more than he was asked to or should have. Donovan was a 67.3 run blocking on the year, a 72.7 pass blocking on the year. He allowed 10 pressures, only one sack though. Steven says, Joe, are you going to any games this year? Ooh, I haven't even thought about it, honestly. I would love to, you know. Um, I haven't seen Henry in probably Sean Henry. I haven't seen him in probably 15 years, close to it. So yeah, it'd be a good time to meet up with Sean and we could argue in person for once. I'm gonna think about it, Steven. I'll let you know if I'm making it up. It's probably gonna have to be one of those shitty games early on. The team up north ticket is gonna be difficult. That's gonna be pricey. And hotels and stuff like that are gonna be pricey, but that's a good question, Steven. I'm gonna think about that. I'll talk to Jeff and Sean, see what they have in mind, and maybe we can pencil something in and meet up with you. Odysseus says we need to defy history this year because we tend to win it all in years it's not expected. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, 2015 was supposed to be the year with everybody coming back. 2014, obviously we did it, but yeah, yeah, that's a good point. But I would say like other teams like Bama and Georgia, they've won it when they're supposed to, like when they're a favorite to win going into the year, they still, held on and won. So we can do it too. I feel confident. Pam says, just got to beat them cheaters. You got it. You got it, Pam. Preach. PC says, Joe, what are the odds, in your opinion, that we go into the playoffs undefeated, also to make the national championship game? Undefeated, 12-0. Well, 13-0, maybe. I don't. I don't think we lose a regular season game. Now it depends on who we play in the Big Ten championship because there's no more divisions, right? So it could be Penn State. What if Drew Aller develops finally and explodes this year? What if Orgy is the second coming of JJ McCarthy? I can't say that with a straight face. No. We have to play the second best team in the conference. That could be Oregon. I doubt it's going to be Washington, USC, or UCLA, but Oregon could be the second best team. We'd have to face them twice. You don't like that. I think the odds are slim that we go into the playoffs undefeated. Now, the beauty of this 12-team playoff is you could still lose that Big Ten championship game and get into the playoffs. You're not going to get dropped out of the top 10 for sure, especially if that's your only loss in the season. So I feel that it's going to be slim. It's difficult. It's hard to do. It's hard to go 12-0, man, even with this easy schedule. But taking away the divisions, playing the second best Big Ten team, which will probably be a top 5 team in the country, whether it's Penn State, Oregon, or the Cheaters, or whoever you're playing in that Big Ten championship game is probably in the top 5 in the nation. So it's another big time matchup that could go either way, So I'm I, I can't say undefeated going into the playoffs is a gimme. I would money line on that. I would go plus 400, so 4-1 odds. So get your tickets in. Got to wrap it up here. Odysseus says this preseason has the anticipation of 98 and 15. Hope it ends differently. Yeah. The beauty of this playoff, though, is a season like 98, you don't have to worry about one game knocking you out of the playoffs. You know, we can lose one game, maybe even two, and still easily make a 12-team playoff. It's a harder road because you're not going to get a bye week in the playoffs, but yeah, 98 will never happen again, where one loss knocks you out of the playoffs. That's why they brought up this 12-team playoff shit. 15, yeah, again, losing one game, not going to knock you out of the playoffs. But I do agree. I hope it ends differently. Steven says, will Julian Sain get any game reps this year? I say yes. I think maybe not burn the red shirt in the regular season. So you got to remember also it's important that the postseason, those games do not count against your red shirt. So Big Ten championship, all the playoff games do not count against a red shirt. So theoretically, Sain could play 4 games regular season of the 12. That's, a third of the season. Yeah, a third of the season. Then play in the playoffs in every game and still have his red shirt at the end of the year. So I think, yes, he definitely plays some snaps. I hope he's ready. He's got to know the offense. Physically has to be ready. Now he's a little undersized. I say he's like 6 foot tall, 6'1" at the most. So he's a little smaller than a CJ Stroud, but he's got that ball placement kind of arm. And I think he definitely plays in some games, Stephen. PC says, regarding an old team, I think that's the model. Worked for the Cheaters up north last season. Now the covers are bare. Exactly. 44 seniors is a bit much. You're not going to see that again, I don't think. But yeah, this is the oldest team we've had in quite a while. I mean, if you look at that 2021 class, it is loaded with dudes that are, premier players, household names. Pam says, still can't believe we lost to them 3 years in a row. Yes. Oh, I'm going to have to pour a drink very shortly, Pam. Thanks. I'm just kidding. Odysseus, we're not that old, PC, LOL. Scum, literally 25-year-olds all over the place. It's true. They did have 25-year-olds. Steven says, I'm not buying the Oregon hype. They don't have an elite QB, in my opinion. I'm with you there, Steven. I am not. I've never been a Dylan Gabriel guy. I don't know what makes him special. I don't know why the country has fallen in love with him. Maybe because he's never left. He hasn't had to leave college in 10 years. I don't know. But he can run around a little bit. But he's a little guy. He's like 5'11", 6 foot. He doesn't have a big arm. And he's a lefty. No offense, Aaron Nolan. So yeah, I agree, Stephen. If you're not on board with Dylan Gabriel, then it is going to be a long road for Oregon. Then there is no Oregon hype, is there? We'll see how they run the ball. Wrapping it up here. Odysseus says Lachlan versus Alford match betting line. Ooh, Lachlan smash Alford. I think Lachlan's probably 5 years younger, maybe a little bit more. Pretty sure Tony's over 50. Lachlan's like 46, 47. And Lachlan has traps. The dude is huge, ripped, shredded. Yeah, no brainer. Lachlan will get him in a sleeper hold and lights out, Tony. Billy says Gabriel is overrated, in my opinion. See? Yeah, that's 3 opinions right there. We must be true. It must be true, right? PC says, Joe, what's your take on the new RB coach? Seems like a beast. I like this mindset. Yeah. I agree. He is a beast, like I just said. Um, Nobody wants to go into the steel cage match against this guy. Uh, Former cop, prison guard, federal agent, by the way, on a mission that he couldn't talk about, or a position he's not allowed to talk about. So um, this guy's a badass, Billy Badass. Has a degree in was it criminology, something like that, something related. So yeah, this guy's a winner. He doesn't play. He doesn't take. He's not a softie, like he said. I don't know if you guys saw the quote, but he said, um, "I don't bake soft cookies. There's a bakery for that. It's called the transfer portal." So basically saying, if these guys want to be soft, they want to be pampered in my running back room, hit the portal. This is not the place for you. So I love it. Yeah. Sage says, what do you think of the Super 80 League? I don't think it's going to happen. If you're not including the SEC and the Big Ten in your discussions, then you're just making up a minor league football league. If if you are doing anything in college football and you're not including Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, the commissioners, you're not doing anything that matters. You're just daydreaming, in my opinion. I think this Super League crap has no weight, no bearing to it. So I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not gonna spend too much of my brain power on it. You should trim it down to a Super 40. SEC and Big Ten, 20 teams each. That's it. That's the cutoff. And honestly, you could kick about 10 to 15 teams out of that and cut it down to a 25. Get rid of your Rutgers, your Vanderbilts, shit like that. Teams that don't matter, that are never ranked. So yeah, briefly, I would just say I don't really think that the Super 80 League is going to be much of anything. Interesting, though, that Roger Goodell's right-hand man was in on these discussions, but not the Big Ten and SEC. Yeah. Watch the Big Ten and SEC come out with something that's really going to blow your mind, for real. Watch for that. It's going to be the Big 40 or something like that. Odysseus wrapping up here. Last message, last chat. Now watch the Scums say Lachlan was the PI they hired. Yeah, Lachlan was the PI. Yep. Hired by Day's brother, recommended by Ryan Day's brother, right? Yeah. It's coming. Sam Webb, that's a Sam Webb exclusive right there. Scam Webb. How's that guy still have a job, man? Pathetic beat. Whew. Crazy. But all right, folks, I got to pour a drink and get this Friday rolling. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Me, Jeff, and Sean will be back Sunday night. I got to drive all the way to fucking Orlando on Sunday morning. Drive back. But got to be back by 5 in time so I can eat and get a couple cocktails in me before the 7:30 show Sunday night. So hope you'll join us. YouTube Live. Don't forget, check out the BuckeyeCast.com. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. The video vault up and running. 300 videos. Recruiting, condensed games, Buckeye games. Your Buckeye legends, your all-time favorite dudes. Check it out, thebuckeyecast.com. And the gear is always on sale, as usual. Please hit the like button on the way out the door and make sure you subscribe, por favor. Ooh, that rhymed. I want to save that one. Sage says they have to keep those teams. They need practice games. I get you, Sage. Good point. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Go Bucks.